Hello, my name is Irina. I am a STEM teacher and TTS expert. In this webinar, I'll be talking about the fear of speaking and what to do with it. Okay, so the agenda is very simple. First, we'll learn what the fear of speaking is, what causes it, and of course, the huge part will be dedicated to possible solutions. Okay, so from the scientific point of view, the fear of speaking is called foreign language anxiety. So foreign language anxiety is the feeling of unease, worry, nervousness, and apprehension when someone is speaking or learning another language. Okay, and it is caused by a lot of factors, but all of them can be grouped in three components. The first one is the fear of negative evaluation. So it is, I guess, self-explanatory. It is associated with the learner's perception of how other onlookers are going to look at them, judge them, and they're afraid. That's why they're afraid of making mistakes, of looking stupid, of being judged as well. And number two is communication apprehension. So it's the anxiety triggered by real or anticipated communication act itself. Again, it's connected with judgment, with self-image, and possibly with the personality as well, because some of the people can be just naturally shy and introverted. Number three is test anxiety, and it's associated with the fear of doing badly at the exam, or failing the exam, especially when the exam is really, really important. Okay. The concept of foreign language anxiety is often confused with the concept of language barrier, whatever you prefer. Though there is actually a huge difference between them. So language barrier is the general lack of knowledge, lack of resources. I don't know, that's why I don't speak. It's very technical. While foreign language anxiety is like deeply psychological. I know, I have the knowledge, I know the vocabulary, I know the grammar, but still there is some block inside my brain that prevents me from speaking, okay? We are going to focus more on foreign language anxiety, but some of the techniques can be applicable to students with language barrier as well, yeah, especially if they are low levels. Let's move on to possible solutions. This part is divided into two subparts. The first is about building positive rapport with your student, and the second is about helping your student to switch focus. Okay, we're going to go step by step. And we'll start with building positive rapport. Rapport is a good understanding of someone, trust, and an ability to communicate well with them. So basically, it's a good relationship between you and your student. And that's why this part, in many ways, depends on you as a teacher. Okay, so you are responsible for building it. So how we can build? First, by creating friendly atmosphere. And here we can use different techniques. The first one is to encourage a student. Okay? Support them by saying, don't worry, it's okay, mistakes are normal, I'm listening, keep going. Praise them when they have done something really important for them. Okay, and cheer them up. Number two, listen carefully. So active listening means that you fully concentrate, you understand what's being said, you respond to it and react, withholding judgment. Okay, and you even try to remember this information to use it for further discussions. Okay, this way your students will feel more open, more willing to speak because you listen to them. Number three, be patient. Okay, it sounds simple, but it's actually very important. When you give instruction, when you ask a question, wait. Okay, wait for the answer, for any answer, from I don't understand to confused facial expression. Okay. Otherwise, the student won't feel a need to speak. Yeah. if you interrupt them all the time. Number 4 is don't overcorrect. It's okay to correct some mistakes, main ones. For example, those in P communication, those that are connected with target grammar, target vocabulary, or high frequency ones. But if you overdo it, it will discourage your student and they will, again, not be willing to speak. Number 5, give time for preparation if necessary. Students with foreign language anxiety, they need time to process information. That's why we give them time when we are being patient. The same about this technique. Give them time to prepare for an exercise, or give them time to prepare for a lesson. Okay? You can send them a grammar topic in advance as a homework so that they can study it, and you will practice it during the lesson. Okay? Number 6 is to use your sense of humor. It is, again, very simple, but it relaxes our student, and some of them who have this image of the strict teacher from university or from the school, this image will disappear if you use your sense of humor. Okay, so make jokes, smile at least, tell some stories. You can tell even you can tell some stories about your own mistakes, so that your student can feel relaxed. Okay. So we've created friendly atmosphere. Next, let's learn how to grade your own language. Okay, to grade language basically means to adapt to students' level, to students' abilities. How we can do it? First, we have to make sure that we use simple, short sentences with common words so that our student can understand it. Number 2 is to use your body language. Sometimes we don't actually have to say anything. We can just show it. We can praise our student using our hands or gestures, face, or we can even correct mistakes using the same technique. Number 3, slow down, use pauses, use intonation, especially when you give like 2-3 steps instruction so that your student can understand you. Number 4, repeat if necessary, especially when there is some technical issues or your student just asked you to. And number 2 in this technique is paraphrase. Okay, so sometimes we realize that we've said something not really understandable. Then in this case, yeah, make it simple. Number 3, we've created friendly atmosphere, we've graded our language. Number 3 is to teach your students some communication strategies. Within this context, communication strategies means actions or tips that can help people communicate effectively in real life. And so the strategies are, again, very simple. The first one is letting the students use body language. Again, it's the easiest way to communicate with everyone. They have to feel free to use it during the lesson, even though the lessons are online. Okay, so they can show the objects they are trying to describe. They can use their gestures, use their face to express themselves, and they have to be not discouraged, but they have to feel supported if they do this. And number 2 is to teach them some spoken grammar, some features of it. Spoken grammar is the rules of conversation language. It's more common for real-life communication, and it's easier than written one, obviously. That's why your student needs to know it, because they need to understand other people. They need to understand the natural flow of the conversation. Okay, and also it has some phrases like, it's kind of something, let me think. It can fill the void in the conversation while your student is processing the information. Okay, so this way they can at least sound fluent and communicate in more natural way. Number 3 is to teach them top words. Obviously, the more words they know, the more conversation they can understand and keep on going. Okay, so 1,000 words is 75% of the conversation. The more the better. If you want to learn more about how to teach spoken grammar and how to teach top words, visit our workshops dedicated on these topics. Number 4 is to teach functional phrases. Sometimes when we are in a stressful situation, our brains just like stops working, and the only thing that we can remember is something we've rehearsed before. Okay, it can be, hello, how are you doing? Okay, we say it without even thinking, automatically. The same about functional phrases, any other functional phrases. You can use it for classroom environment, for example. If you don't understand me, please say this. If you don't understand this word, please ask me this. Okay, or you can use it to reach the goal of your student. For example, if your student wants to deliver a presentation, then of course they need to know the useful phrases that are connected with delivering the presentation. Number 5, it's really important to teach them to ask questions and react. Again, real life communication, it's not only about answering teachers' questions, it's an interaction. They have to know how to say, how to answer, and they have to know how to ask questions as well. Okay. Number 6 is to teach to use what they know. What I mean by that? Sometimes when they are trying to express themselves, they try to translate it from Russian to English, literally using some complex grammar, complex words that they don't know, and they get stuck. In this case, you can say, okay, simplify the idea, paraphrase it, use the words that you know to express the same idea, okay? I will understand you anyway. I will support you. I will help. This way they will understand that they can express themselves using simple words. Okay, yeah, that's all about the communication strategies. And the 4th part is using relaxation techniques. We use it when the situation is really difficult. We've tried everything, but you know, it doesn't work. In this case, we can advise our students to use such relaxation techniques as breathing in, breathing out slowly, at least 10 times, counting to 10, to 12, to 15, to 20, whatever you want. Number 3, staying present, which basically means noticing what's inside me and what's outside me. Okay, inside me, anxiety, fear, okay, I acknowledge it. What's outside me, I don't know, beautiful curtains, beautiful people, anything like that. Number 4 is visualizing. Visualizing a picture of a happy place where I, as a student, feel really good, where I feel really relaxed. Okay. But again, it's when the case is really difficult. You're right. We've created friendly atmosphere. We've created our language. We've taught our students some communication strategies. And in difficult situation, we've used some relaxation techniques. Brilliant. So we've built this positive rapport with our student. The next part is to help your student to switch focus. The full explanation of this idea with really brilliant examples you'll find in the TEDx attached to this form. But now I'll briefly explain what it's about in a very, very simplified case. So imagine Maria. She gets lost and she asks 2 persons, 2 people, 2 girls for help. Could you tell me where the conference room is? Very simple. What does Maria wants to get at urge? Let's see what she said. The first woman said, you know, I don't speak English very well, but your room, it's there. It's Vertemir. It's is, of course, is. I'm sorry, I'm not good. Okay, so what we have here, does Maria get the direction? Nope. We have another girl. She said, yes, go straight, see mirror, turn left, euro, Okay, so now Maria gets the direction, even though the language was really simple and like very basic. What's the difference then? So the difference is that, let me hide me, that the first person was totally focused on absolutely different things, on mistakes, on her level, on the level of her interlocutor, on her opinion, while the other person was totally focused on the goal of the conversation. Okay, basically that is the shift that we want to see in our student. Okay, from their self-negative talk, from their concentration on mistakes, opinions, levels, to the person they are talking to and to the result they want to achieve out of this conversation. What we have to remember though is that this part in many ways depends on our student. Anyway, we can use some techniques to help our student to switch the focus. Okay, and the first one is to use signal cards in words, and/or words. How does it work? If your student is aware about his or her fear, then you can basically discuss it with him or her. You can present the idea of the focus. You can even send the TED I sent you, the TED I mentioned, if the level is okay, of course. And agree on some signal words and signal cards that you're going to use every time you feel like he or she is losing focus. Okay, and then when it happens, you will just show the card, say a word. The word can be anything from focus to relax to switch, for example. Okay, so it works the same way we do with mistakes correction. Okay. Number two is remind about students' goals. If your student has a clear goal, discuss it with him or her to make sure that you understand this goal and this goal is the right goal. And number two, then, when he or she loses focus, remind about this goal. Again, competently in a gentle way. How exactly? By using appropriate content, avoid information that is not necessary for them, for their goal. Personalizing exercises, include some questions, include some materials that can be interested personally for them. And of course, yeah, asking additional questions, follow-up questions during your discussions. Number three is to ask, what's your message? Okay, if your student tries to tell you something, but you don't quite get the idea, then again, in a gentle way, not pushing our students, in a gentle way, we can ask, okay, what is your message? What do you mean? What are you trying to say? Could you please explain the idea one more time? So something which is really understandable for our student and that makes them switch the focus and give you the main idea, okay? And number four is using the technique which is called the younger person in the world. Is we need our student to get focused on the other person. Then we can say, okay, imagine that this person is the only person in the world right now. Okay, so there is no one to share your ideas with, and there is no one to judge you. Okay, only this person. And again, you can play with these techniques because it's rather universal. For example, yeah, if your student plans to go abroad, you can say, imagine you want to buy a special souvenir for your mom. And there is only one shop in the town that you're living in right now, that you're staying, and only one shop assistant that can help you. Okay, what would you do? What would you say? What would you ask? Okay. Number five is tasks, limited in time. If your student works well under pressure of time, they have enough resources to work within this time limit, then you can include the tasks like that to the lessons. Okay, watch the time and feel free to add some seconds if necessary. okay, to make them speak as much as they need. But again, remember that some students just doesn't like the pressure of time. They're slow due to nature, or they don't have enough resources to speak within the time limit that you are giving them. Number 6 is advise your student to look at the other person. Okay, psychologists say that number 6 is to advise your student to look at the other person. Psychologists say that it helps to get rid of the anxiety and to get focused on the person they're talking to. Okay, so if your student often looks away or looks down or just not looking at you or looking at somewhere else, then you can advise them to look at the other person to get focused. Why? Because you can get additional information. You can see my reaction. You can understand if I understand you or not, right? And you can keep the conversation going this way. Number 7, ask for expert advice or opinion. So your student is probably good at something or skilled at something, or just really interested in some topics. Use this information to make them speak, to make them focused on this conversation. For example, if you are learning Italian and your student is a perfect Italian speaker, let's say, then you can ask them for advice. For example, could you please share the resources that you've used to learn your Italian? Or you can prepare a list of resources and say, could you please share your opinion on that? But remember that you have to show a vivid interest and you have to listen carefully. So going back to the rapport and to the first part of it, creating a friendly atmosphere. Number 8 is playing games. Why games? So games give our student a sense of achievement. Yes, I've completed this mission. I've done it with help of my English. Perfect. So it boosts their confidence. Number 2, games are goal-oriented. Okay, so I have to help to save the world, for example, or to save a panda from dying, anything like that. Number 3, it's fun. Okay, so it can make boring routine or difficult, which seems to be difficult for our students, exercises more enjoyable and less stressful. Okay, though we have to remember that a game should be well constructed and personalized, otherwise it won't work. So to do that, you should set a learning and a game goal. A learning goal is about the language that you want to practice, and a game goal is about the mission that your student should complete, okay, within this game as a result of this game. And number 2, create a game, choose a game, make sure that it has clear goals, create a score system if necessary. Number 3, play, very easy. And number 4, visualize the progress if necessary. Okay, to give you some ideas, you could look at the doc I'll touch to the fore. It's Game Metrics by SkyTeach, and it has some ideas behind me, like 5 Whys, like Atlas, anything like that. You'll see some ideas here in the description of these games as well. Okay, another resource that you could use is eslgames.com. Okay, when you enter the site, you'll see ESL games and activities. Okay, what we have to remember here is that there is a difference between a game and activity. The game is a series of meaningful decisions which influence the outcome of the game. If a player doesn't feel his actions affect the flow and the result of the game, then he loses interest and motivation, and it's not a game, it's an activity. Okay, so activity is less structured, it's just fun, it's enjoyable, it breaks the routine, but it doesn't usually have some clear goals. For example, we have here random question generator. I go forward and we'll see the generator. We'll press start to begin. We'll see rather interesting random question. We could use it to warm up, for example, our student. So it's fun, but it's not a game because it doesn't have like clear goals. It's just a fun activity. And the good thing is that we can add some elements to make it a game. Okay, and elements are 2 goals, clear rules, score system if necessary. Okay, and let me share the example. The background is a student knows a lot about some celebrities, but he's not good at asking questions. Okay, you learned the rules, you revised it maybe, but you know, your student needs additional practice. To provide that, you decided to create a game. This game should have 2 goals. The learning goal is to practice asking questions. The game goal is to find out who's behind the curtains to start or to save a show. You can shorten it to save a show. I'll explain the idea later. So the preparation is rather easy. You need to learn more about the person you've chosen to present, and you need to prepare, depending on the student's level, to prepare some examples of questions they can ask, or some prompts, or just a scheme that shows how to create a question. So, and the rules are simple. You can say to your student, okay, imagine, you can say, or you can provide a description, they can read it themselves. You are a TV host, but you don't know who your guest is today, and you need to guess, otherwise they will go away and the show will be ruined, okay? So to do that, you need to ask 10 questions. Don't ask about name, about his or her gender, age, job, because it's too easy, it's too easy. You can add any other aspects to this. Don't ask for it. And you, as a teacher, will act as a celebrity. You will type answers via notes. And then after 10 questions, your student will have 3 attempts to guess and save the show. If they will, perfect. The mission is completed. Okay, it's just an example. We have to keep in mind the structure and we have to keep in mind that every activity can be transformed into a good game, a personalized game, well-structured game. Also, if you don't have time to prepare this, if you don't want to use simple short games, you can use the content we see on our platform, on Winbox, in the section media. So in the media section, you'll have 2 courses, wow, lessons and quests. Okay, so these are full lessons which are created to engage your student in really interesting circumstances. Okay, the last point here that I should mention is that each technique is unique. So you can work with one student and it cannot work with another. For example, some student just doesn't like role playing or doesn't like games at all, whatever you give them. So make sure you know your student rather well. Make sure you choose the technique which can be interesting for them, which can be appropriate for the learning, and make sure that you personalized it. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. We've covered building positive reporting, we've covered helping your student to switch focus, and thank you very much for listening to this webinar. I'm looking forward to seeing you at the workshop and practice these techniques.